Okay, at this point, you should have all of your nodes separated out so that you could see them. Now, let's talk a little bit about this node view a little further just to understand a couple of things. First of all, as you can see, most everything is connected. The camera's not, as I said before, but it's connected by these wires, and these wires end in some sort of rectangle. In order to view this, just like any other thing, whether you're on your stage or your timeline or over to the right or left, you can zoom in and zoom out. So I'm going to zoom in using two. You can zoom out using one. And you could also move around using that space bar. Hold down the space bar like I just did there to get that hand, and I can move it around like such. So we have these little rectangles on the bottom or top of each of these nodes. They could connect or disconnect. So I'm going to click and drag to disconnect that just to show you that's disconnected. Now that explosion is going to be gone because it's not connected to anything. So I have to reconnect that. You're not going to do this, but once I click, I'm going to click on that little rectangle. I click and drag and I can see my wire. It'll disappear if I let go. But if I click and drag and connect it back to my composite kitchen right there, it's reconnected. I'm going to move my node view. You can see it is right back there. Also, what you need to know is when you click on the yellow square on any of these nodes, it's going to give you these layer properties for that particular node, that particular layer, that drawing, that effect, that peg, whatever it is, it'll give you a bunch of options here. We're not going to get too much into that today, but I wanted you to be aware of it. And the last thing I want you to know is once you pop it out, you can actually, um, though you move it around by clicking and dragging right at the top here, like right where the node view is. If I wanted to put it back into one of these spots, I'm going to go to the actual tab right here that says node view up in the right hand corner of this box here. And I'll click and drag that. Click and drag my mouse. If I hover right over one of these sections, so this one's color, or I could also do it up here. I could click and drag over there. It's going to pop it right back in, and then in there I could zoom out or zoom in as such. I want you to go ahead and do that now because the next thing we're going to do is add the node library. Now I've already brought mine up, so I'm going to close that and show you how to get to the node library. Just like anything else, use one of the plus signs. I'm going to ask that you do it in the upper right hand corner here. Click on the plus sign and find the node library right above node view. Click on that and you'll see that pops up. I don't want you to do this next step, but I'm going to drag it out just so you can see it a little bit better. In the node library, we have our favorites, which in our favorites is our transparency. And we have a bunch of other things that pop up. These are lots of different things you can do, different effects, different ways that you can help your animation with nodes. So this is where it starts, understanding how to use nodes. If you couldn't find what we're looking for, it's easy in this case, but if you couldn't find what you're looking for and you know the name of it, you can come up into the search bar right here and just start typing the name of that effect. So this is transparency. I don't even have to fill out the entire thing. Two things pop up. We have, that's a remove transparency, and this is transparency. This is the one we're going to use. So back over here where your node library should be, once you add it, I want you to search for that transparency and then click and drag it down into your node view over here. One last thing that I do not want you to do, I'm going to show you why I had you put the node view back up here. I undid the transparency. I'm going to pull that node view out here, like where we were playing it with it before, where it's hovering. If I went and I tried to add that transparency over here, once I click over here, notice that it jumps back because I'm focusing on this main window and not the node view window that we had. So just make sure that your node view is in this section and that you click and drag that transparency down onto it anywhere at this point.